In today's video, I want to talk about why I decided not to get surgery to fix my pectus. To start the video, I want to just give you a little background of my story of pectus and when I went into the doctor's office and considered surgery and how pectus impacted me, and then what ultimately led me to deciding not to fix surgery and seeking alternative options. So I was born with pectus like most people. Most people are born with it. Some people do develop it as they're going through puberty, but most people are born with it. I was. In terms of the severity of pectus, because pectus varies greatly in terms of severity, and having coached people for the last 10 years, coached thousands of people, I've seen all shapes and sizes of pectus. If 1's the most mild pectus I've ever seen and 10 is the most severe, I'd probably give myself a 2, a 2.5. So it was definitely a mild case. It impacted me primarily just psychologically. So it was just like a cosmetic thing where I didn't like the way it made me look, and I felt a lack of self-confidence, poor body image. And so it was more impacting, the way I felt about myself and my self-esteem. I think it also slightly impacted my fitness. Just compared to my peers, I definitely struggled with that a little bit more than my peers. And in comparison to like my performance in sports that were short and fast, would have impacted that. Maybe a little bit early onset of shortness of breath and other things affected from the pectus, but primarily it's just cosmetic. That was what was ultimately what I was trying to fix, was that. I really started getting impacted from it when I was about 9, 10 years old. I started playing rugby, and in the change rooms, when I take off my shirt, people would notice it and say, "What's that hole in your chest?" And that doesn't make you feel good, makes you feel different. And then you start, looking in the mirror, realizing you're different and realizing you've got this deformity, and then beats you up. So I didn't even know it was pectus probably until I was 12. I didn't know what it was called. My parents didn't either. There wasn't much information out there. At 12, it started getting to the point where every time I take off my shirt for a swimming carnival or something, people would point at it. And so it made me really self-conscious. This is like when I started going through puberty and early teenage years now. And so I think I went to the doctor at probably 12 or 13, seeking treatment options. And surgery was definitely one that we considered. However, due to my pectus being quite mild and not really impacting my health in a negative way, it was going to be a cosmetic procedure, which means in Australia, I would have been very expensive. Also, it is a painful surgery, and obviously it's scary. Like it's a major surgery. The biggest reason why I didn't end up going for the surgery was because it results in years without contact sport afterwards, and I was a really serious rugby player, and so I didn't want to have like a year or two without rugby, because at that time that was my dream, to be a professional rugby player. So that was the ultimate reason why I decided not to, was the not being able to play contact sport post-surgery, but then also the pain and the intensive nature of the surgery and the money for my parents were all factors as well. And my pectus not needing it, it didn't seem worth it for the pros and the cons, okay? So yeah, that's the decision why I decided not to get surgery. Now, I'm very happy that I decided not to, knowing what I know now as to, with a mild case, how much you can make it hardly noticeable. Like, I still have pectus, I never got surgery, I haven't changed my bone structure, I've just built muscle around it, and it's hardly noticeable, to the point where people always comment on my YouTube videos saying, "You don't have pectus." Like, well, that's the point. That's why I make these videos, because I've made it look like I don't have pectus, but I certainly do. But the way you can build your physique, you sculpt your pecs around the indent, develop abs and oblique muscles over the rib flare, get that lower chest separation from the ribs so your chest is protruding more, open your posture so you're not just like rounded forward, which makes it look worse. Those things you can do really make the pectus look so much better. And for me, that was all I needed. So I'm so thankful I didn't go through surgery, and I ended up experimenting with training to see what I could do. It was purely just like, for me, it was like, well, surgery is not an option. What can I do? And so I was like, surely building muscle helps. There was no content on it really at all when I started my journey. So I just trial and error, figured it out. And then all of a sudden, after years of dedication, becoming a qualified trainer, learning how to train properly, building my body in a proper way, I realized I made it hardly noticeable. So that was the route that I ended up going through to fix my pectus and the problem that was associated with my pectus, which was really not liking the way I look. In terms of improving my lung function and my fitness, I worked on that as well, and now I'm quite fit, I'd like to say. So that's something that you can improve as well with training. So that was how I treated my pectus, and that was why I decided not to get the surgery. I hope this gives you some insight for yourself and your journey. Everyone's pectus is different, so it's worth getting it checked out. And then you can assess the options. I've got a complete guide to fixing pectus video, which is worth checking out on my YouTube. That will give you, different options for improving it, depending on your severity and your age. Lots of factors will impact it. Knowing what I know now, when I was like 12, I think the vacuum bell could have been a really good option that the doctor, I wish he knew about and could have told me about. However, I'm glad that he didn't, because then my business wouldn't have been born, and the whole training method of improving it. On top of that, I think the pectus that I have and the physique that I've developed around it actually almost makes my chest look better and my physique look better. So I actually think my pectus kind of accentuates my physique personally. So anyway, if you are unsure as to whether you should get surgery or what option, as I said, go see a medical professional and get a CT scan, get your Hauler index, and then you can, make the appropriate decision. If it's a mild case and it's just cosmetic, book a strategy call with me. Then I can have a look and see if I can help you with my training and make a strategy for you for the program. The reason the strategy call is the first thing is every person's circumstances and training program needs will vary depending on so many factors like their age, availability to work out. So you got to meet me, and that way I can really make sure that I can help you achieve your goals. So go to my website, fixpectus.com, book a strategy call with me, and then I can personally meet you and determine the strategy for you and help you overcome your pectus as well.